Hey guys, so exciting news for the cryptocurrency world is that the first crypto ETF is coming to the ASX. Now, this isn't the first ETF of its kind that gives investors access to the crypto in their portfolios, because the US stock market already has the first Bitcoin-linked ETF called BITO. Nor is it the first Australian crypto ETF, because the CRYP already has DIGA, because it's a Bitcoin mining ETF. Who comes up with these names? But the first ASX listing for a cryptocurrency ETF is by BetaShares under the ticker CRYP, CRYP, and it made its debut on the 4th of November 2021 at a price of $11.25 per share. So, does this deserve all the hype and will it make us all rich? Let's find out. Now, this is going to be the first of many crypto ETFs to come on the ASX, and that's because the ASIC recently gave the green light for companies like BetaShares to provide ETFs with exposure to cryptocurrencies. Except that there's one caveat, and that's that only Bitcoin and Ethereum meets the strict set of criteria that's necessary to keep ASIC happy. And 2 coins in a fund does not an ETF make. Now, ETFs are only useful because it provides exposure to generally hundreds or even thousands of companies for diversity. Let's take VTS for example. That's a Vanguard fund that holds 4,000 different US stocks. So rather than buying an ETF that only holds 2 coins, investors can just go and buy the coins themselves through a digital exchange and be done with it. But this new BetaShares ETF is different. It's not so much a fund that buys the actual coins themselves, but it actually invests in companies that are involved in the cryptocurrency space. So things like digital exchanges, mining operations, and companies that build the infrastructure needed for the coins themselves. And because it's an ETF, its share price is not based on the supply and demand of the shares themselves like regular shares, but it's tied to the Bitwise Crypto Industry Innovators 30 index in the US stock market. So this is actually an ETF by Bitwise listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So CRYP is going to be the ASX equivalent, holding pretty much the same US companies. So what does CRYP actually hold? Well, it doesn't hold any Bitcoins, or Ethereum for that matter. It holds the stocks of the top 30 companies that do hold Bitcoins. If we actually dive into the holdings list, the biggest position is in Galaxy Digital Holdings, which is a small crypto investment company with less than 300 employees. But it's got the same market cap as our own Qantas, which has more than 20,000 employees. So it's definitely punching above its weight. Now, the second biggest position is, no surprise, Coinbase. It's one of the biggest US crypto exchanges that makes money with every transaction that its users make. Oh, and it holds about 4,500 Bitcoins as well. So if we keep looking down the list of company stocks, there's actually some big names in there. There's Nvidia, who makes the GPUs that's used in mining operations, and likewise AMD as well with their computer processors. Now, we also have Square and PayPal here as well, since they're both payments companies, and most of cryptocurrency's utility is in making payments and some record keeping as well. So those 2 massive companies also have some skin in the game. And crypto's march to Australia doesn't just stop there either. The Commonwealth Bank, for example, has just partnered with the crypto exchange Gemini to make crypto investments directly possible through the CommBank app. That's going to be coming in early 2022, and there's going to be 10 of the biggest crypto coins available to invest, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, even Litecoin. So you can see that there's going to be a huge wave of crypto products coming, and with ASIC creating this new crypto asset class, it's just opened the floodgates to more crypto products to the market soon. So now comes the question, should you invest in crypto-based ETFs? Now, I personally would never encourage anyone to buy any Bitcoin or Ethereum, but if you do want to buy some, I think do it with a small amount of money that you can afford to lose. Because even though crypto can easily return 1,000% in just a few weeks, it can just as easily crash 99% in just a few hours. But buying BetaShares' new ETF probably won't go to those extremes because it's quite diversified and the holdings are in company stocks with indirect ties to crypto rather than directly into the coins themselves. But keep in mind that these ETFs are being introduced at a time when Bitcoin and the likes are pretty much at the highest ever prices. So I do feel a higher amount of risk than usual. And also the ETF management fees for this fund are quite significant as well. They charge around 0.67% of your holdings value every year. Now compare that to a very vanilla ASX index fund like Vanguard's VAS, for example, which only charges 0.1%. So you'll be paying almost 7 times the fees here when you invest in a crypto fund. But at the same time, if you compare the performance of the two, it's also vastly different. So I guess you do get what you pay for here. Though the caveat here is that past performance is not a reliable indicator of future performance. So I guess my final bit of advice here is to heed the saying, buy the rumor, sell the news. And that effect is really strong in the crypto world. Just look at the share price of Bitcoin leading up to the BITO debut, and then the price starts to cool off afterwards. I guess what I'm trying to say is that any crypto is a speculative investment. There's no analysis that you can undertake, like earnings for a company, it doesn't pay dividends, and it's unregulated by governments. So I guess that's just the perfect formula for wild fluctuations. So invest at your own risk. But if you still want to do it, just do it as a small part of any portfolio for a little bit of exposure to something that could either, take over the world one day or just become completely valueless. So that's it from me. Make sure you hit the subscribe button for more content like this and smash that like button as well. I'm The Healthy Investor, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.